How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 43 of the ControllerCast. A very, 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 very special episode because if you guys have been paying attention, this is actually the 1 year anniversary episode of this podcast.
Let's go, boys. Clap it up. Here
Snappy
we go.
snaps in the chat. Snaps.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that's listened or watched, even any of our videos up to this point. It's really nice to see it's been fairly consistent, honestly, and shout out to these guys because honestly, I think we can all agree we've really improved our quote unquote craft, and just public speaking, being able to talk off the cuff, keeping these conversations interesting and keeping them going for 2 hours every Sunday almost. And I think, if you listen to the earlier episodes and you listen to how we converse now, I think it's a lot more natural, a lot more funny, better, comfortable. So I'm really proud of where, in terms of quality, where we've gotten the podcast to, and just 1 year, but still, and how on top of it we've stayed. But joined as always by Johnny Wood and Andrew Ihausen, my lovely co-hosts. We've also got a new logo out for the new year to commemorate the new year. It's a little bit more cleaned up, and that'll be our new logo moving forward. We kind of shout out to Tana. She's essentially the fourth member of this podcast. She designs all the logos that you guys see on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, things like that. Every week she designs those, and she's kind of like the quality control. And essentially she's like the producer of the show.
Yeah, she really is the producer.
But I guess and you guys have any thoughts on the I guess 1 year we've been doing this thing?
It's crazy, dude. I can't believe it's already been a year. It doesn't feel like it. But it is nice that we can see our stats and how many people listen. And we know that there's at least 20, a little over 20 people that are consistently listening every week. And shout out to those people. I know Graham Shepard, my boy, he listens to every episode. Unless there's something he hasn't seen yet, then he'll wait because, all of our stuff is spoiler heavy and we go deep into it. But yeah, if you have listened with us this far, big thank you. It's really cool to see that. And we don't even do it for the listener. Well, we do, but it's a fun hobby for us. And it's cool to see that other people are enjoying it too. So
yeah, I think thank you for putting a little bit of extra money into our bank accounts.
Yeah. A penny per listen.
Yeah.
But we're at over 1,800 listens across all our episodes, which is insane. And that doesn't include YouTube.
Yes, you include YouTube, we'd be well over 2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a nice way for us to all keep up with each other, even though Ursul's in Arizona, I mean, we text all the time and play games, but it's also nice to have, conversations that aren't just screaming at each other when we go down in Fortnite or bitching.
Where the fuck are you guys?
Where are you? Come on.
And it forces us to see new movies, play new games, listen to new music.
Keeps us cultured.
Yeah, culture. There you go. And I like we haven't done one in a while, but when Ursul last year was doing those the game reviews for all of that stuff, that was nice to see. Even outside of our audience, a broader audience getting captured with that. That was pretty cool to see. So might have to do more of those in the future.
Yeah. Honestly, I would love to even on that side, I would love to kind of do more. Even not necessarily full reviews, but even we play a lot of Fortnite, even putting maybe Fortnite highlights, maybe making some TikTok highlights. I think that would be a really interesting avenue to just expanding in the visual space, because I feel that's where you draw a lot of people in, and I think there's a lot of potential there. And those two YouTube reviews, they popped off.
Yeah, and I think we've done a lot of kind of experimental different changes, maybe subtle changes that the audience might not recognize, as they're listening, but we have, implemented different changes throughout, trying to kind of perfect the best way to do the pod. And I think there'll be a lot more experimentation this upcoming year. So
I think we're pretty
very excited for year number
Year number
Ducks up.
year. And the end, I think the official end of our first season, quote unquote, though, will be episode 50 or so.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't
A
have
little
to
look into the future. I think once Mr. Wood gets initiated into a fatherhood, I think we'll probably have a small minor break in there.
Yeah,
but
definitely a few weeks off.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get to episode 50.
Yeah, Casey's got to hold that fucking baby in for 7 more weeks. Damn it, 7 more.
I think she can do it, but we don't know. I mean, babies do what babies want to do.
True.
So
that's true.
We will.
Yeah, it might be born. It might be born in a week from now.
Don't say that. We gotta move still. We gotta move.
Bro, yeah, I was born fucking 2 months premature. I was
born late.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I think I was born pretty much on time.
Yeah, I was like 4 pounds when I came out, and I was in the hospital for like a month after.
Oh, NICU shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
crazy.
I was a very problematic health related child.
How are your brothers? Were they born premature?
A Bond, which is my youngest brother, he's 15. He was born July 12th. He was born on time. And then a Lacer, he was born 1 day early. He was supposed to be born on July 4th, and he was born on July 3rd.
Damn, that's pretty anti-American of him.
Oh yeah, you guys I forgot you guys are all born like the same exact time.
Yeah, we're all born in the same month, but I was supposed to be born in September.
Your parents looking at their bank account every July after buying birthday presents. They're like,
seriously, July is just a busy month for our family. Yeah, literally all of our birthdays are like 10 days apart. But as always, we talk about we haven't been doing current events for a few weeks because honestly it's been pretty goddamn dry on that end.
Besides games coming out.
Yeah, now that all these games are coming out, there haven't been any big announcements lately. But next week there is an Apple event coming up this upcoming week, so we might have a little to dabble in.
Yeah, we'll probably be talking about that for, I would assume, the main topic next week if it's pretty eventful. Which probably doubt it, but we'll probably still talk about it. We'll probably be another main topic to roast Apple.
Press X to doubt.
Yeah.
But as always, we always talk about what we've been up to the past week, just so you guys can catch up with what we've been up to, and so we can catch up with each other. So, John, how about you start us off? What have you been up to this past week?
Well, one of the main things is Casey and I nailed down a new place to live, so that's really hype.
The one at 108th and Fort, right?
It's like 101st and Fort.
John's just doxing himself live on the air.
Yeah, come visit me. No, it's they look really nice. They're townhomes, and being in a 3rd floor walk-up apartment right now, I'm really excited to get out of that, especially considering going up and down those stairs with a baby, and if we forget one thing, we have to take the baby out of the car, bring him all the way back up to grab whatever we forgot and go all the way back down if we're by ourselves and shit. And then having 2 bathrooms will be awesome. We'll have a garage and a driveway. And so it's 1,100 square feet. So honestly, not much bigger than what we've got. But since it's 2 floors, I think it'll feel a little bit bigger. And at our current apartment, our bathroom is literally the size of a master bedroom. Our bathroom is, and that's such stupid unused space. So I think the 1,100 square feet will feel bigger, a lot bigger, honestly. And then we have an unfinished basement, so that'll be my workout area.
It's pretty much like a house.
Sweet. What's that?
Very much like a house.
Yeah, it literally is like a house. I'll have my own dedicated office space, so I'm really excited about that because currently my office is just right next to the kitchen.
Is it a 2-bedroom?
It is. Yep, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. So we do only have 1 shower and bath, but I can definitely deal with that considering we're coming from a 1-bed, 1-bath. And it's affordable. It's within our price range, and there weren't a lot of places that were within our price range because I'm severely underpaid. But
shysters, the shysters.
Oh god.
But yeah, that was some of the biggest news this week. Casey had another appointment for our little baby that's on the way, and he's actually measuring a little bit big. So our predictions on him coming early might not be out of the question, but I'm hoping that he'll at least hold out until our move-in date, which is it should be the weekend before April 25th, so like April 23rd. But
So
if he was born
nice.
around then, that would be 2 weeks early.
So when I come, I'll definitely see the new place because I think I'm gonna come in May.
Yeah, you'll definitely
Because
see the new
Yeah,
place.
I'll probably be
family's-
I'll probably be helping you move.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
Yeah, John, when are you moving? That's when I'm not gonna come.
Yeah.
Arsenal's like blocking that out on his calendar. Like, do not go to Omaha this day, or you'll have to lift heavy things.
Literally,
Bro, I had to do that one time. I came into town, and I literally like had to like help someone move. Luckily, it was just in the same building, and they were just moving to a different apartment in that building. But it was still like
that's
God
still
damn,
a
bro.
pain in the ass. I'm
Yeah.
really not excited about like carrying all this heavy shit down 3 flights of stairs. Like I thought about hiring movers just for like the couch and the bed and stuff, but
I think we would be fine. I mean, if
I
your
think we'll
dad
be
if your dad helps and if Jared's there, and then I'm sure like Graham or Thad probably.
yeah, I know Thad and Brittany are gonna be there for sure to help, and they have a truck. So that'll be nice. And Thad, I saw when I helped him move, I saw him lift a whole ass couch over his head like no problem
Holy
himself.
shit.
Thor.
And yeah, literally Thor. If you're
Jesus.
listening, Thad, you're a beast. So
Holy
I
Yeah,
expect
shit.
that same shit.
If I ever move out of this apartment while I'm out here in Arizona, like I've decided I'm just gonna hire movers because fuck moving that shit downstairs because I'm also on the third floor, same as John.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I'm
would
on
be
the fucking
easier if there was
fifth
like an
floor, bro.
elevator. At least you have an elevator. So that's
Yeah.
like it doesn't make it as bad, but it's still not easy by any means. Because
Yeah,
you have to
definitely not.
walk a decent amount to get to the elevator at your place.
Yeah, we're like way in the fucking armpit of the building.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, here's $1,500. Move my shit, please. Whatever it is. I don't even know how much it costs.
I don't know how much it costs for movers. A few hundred, I'm assuming, at least. Because I don't know how they probably have to work. Maybe they do.
I think it's
like
like $100 an hour.
You probably pay them hourly, and then
Yeah.
you probably also have to pay for their meals. I'd assume they probably have a per diem.
Shit,
Yeah.
probably.
Here's some McDonald's, guys.
And then you probably have to pay them for mileage, however far you're moving. But I mean, yeah.
For me, it wouldn't be very far. It'll be nice to be close to the interstate because then Andrew and I will be a little closer. It'll be like
Also, yeah.
like,
like 10 minutes
shorter. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a fucking like 1,300 square foot apartment that's like comprised of like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. So there's like 2 beds, 2 TVs, 2 like
yeah.
it'd be a fucking pain.
Yeah. I mean, at least honestly, the thing I'm most worried about is our freaking mattress. We have a purple mattress, and that thing is honestly like 100 pounds. I think it's more than that, actually. Because I remember when we got it, the weight, like the shipping label for the weight showed like 113 pounds. And Graham and I could barely get it up the fucking stairs.
Well, you know what? I wish you guys nothing but the best in your moving endeavors.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's not going to be fun, but it'll be really good for us once we're in a new place. Besides that was
I also gotta say I'm so happy you're moving out in that direction because now I'll never have to go past my house. Everything will be like east, because
I'll be so close to your parents' house. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be like 2-3 minute drive away. But like, yeah, every time, like the only reason I ever drove west was to see John.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now everything will be a lot more even convenient for me.
Yeah.
And Andrew too.
Yeah, I'll be like mid Omaha.
Mid Maha.
North mid Omaha.
But
we'll still be within a minute of a Hy-Vee. We're still
That's the essential requirement.
Yeah, literally. But besides that, our baby is measuring a little bit bigger. So hopefully he doesn't come early. And then what else did we do? We saw the hockey game last night with Andrew. That was really fun.
The hockey game, the only hockey game in the world.
The only hockey game. We went and
the
saw
hockey game. The only one that fucking matters, baby.
We went and saw the Omaha Mavericks, where we went to school, college. We went and saw them play North Dakota, and North Dakota was ranked 4th.
Yeah, and we watched them
kicked
beat
their
that
shit
fucking
in.
ass, baby.
Yeah. I missed like every goal, which sucks.
Except the last one.
Yeah. But I was looking away for like every single one. Every time like we would go to the bathroom or something, a goal would happen. And even in college, that's how it went. So I don't know. It kind of sucked, but it was really fun to go. And we went and got some Mexican food, got margaritas in Omaha. Highly recommend.
Yeah, actually unironic, highly recommend there. That place is very good.
It was fire flame. And then we played, I forgot to mention, played the Kirby demo, the new Kirby game that's coming out. And like I think there was an article, Ursel, that you pointed out that was like, oh, it's not like, or maybe a Reddit subreddit or something that was like, oh, it's not like a Kirby Odyssey, but it's more like a Kirby 3D world. Yeah.
Which I said that made me more excited about the game.
Yeah. And it's really fun from what I played. The only complaint that I have is it seems like it's like 30 FPS, I'm pretty sure. And there were a couple moments actually where I saw it dip. And that's a little, I mean, not discouraging, but I think Mario Odyssey was 60. And I think 3D
Odyssey
World
was 60. Yeah, Odyssey was 60.
Yeah, so hopefully they like figure that out before the actual game comes out. But it was a lot of fun. And if you have a Switch, I would download the Kirby demo because that's probably going to be one of the biggest Switch games that comes out this year. It probably will be the biggest because I know Breath of the Wild 2 is not coming out. I think we can all like pretty much guarantee, unless it's holiday season, like very late 2022. But
I remember even like Jason Schreier, like the premier leaker in the gaming industry, like when Breath of the Wild 2's release date got announced, like he was like, yeah, I've talked with people at Nintendo and like a lot of people are planning on it coming out in 2023 internally.
Yeah, like 6 years after probably Breath of the Wild. I mean, with the 6-year development cycle, hopefully it's worth the wait. I'm sure it will be. But I really like the Kirby demo.
You're about to say highly recommend.
I highly recommend it.
I really like it.
I highly really like it.
And you played a lot of Fortnite.
Yeah, played a lot of Fortnite with Andrew a little bit, and you, Ursula, you got on actually. But
I know. I got Spider-Man finally.
Yeah, finally. Casey got Spider-Man.
I got White Spidey finally.
White Spidey life. He looks clean. But I think I've jabbered on enough. So Andrew, how was your week?
It was pretty just this week was we went to hockey like you said and watched Omaha beat that ass. That was fun. That was the last regular season game, so I'm like, damn, I'll have to wait till October to watch another one at home. But
that does suck.
That's the way she goes. But it was super fun. And then what else did I do last week? Let's see, what day was that? One of the days this week, I actually made a YouTube video for unboxing some new Japanese Pokemon cards.
What's
maybe Pokemans.
Pikmin? You're talking about Pikmin?
Yeah, Pikmin. Yeah, I got some new Pikmin cards. So I put that out. I had a lot of fun doing an unboxing video on that. Maybe I'll put that on our retweet my tweet or something so people can see it. But it was pretty fun. And then Gran Turismo 7 came out on Friday, so I have been having lots of fun with that game. That game looks fantastic on the PS5. Yeah, I mean, it's a super clean presentation. The haptic feedback on it's really satisfying. It's just nice to have kind of, it's got like not like a story mode, but it's like a pseudo story mode kind of. There's like missions that you can do in this. There's like a mission mode kind of.
It kind of
Besides
reminds
like,
me of Gran Turismo 4 from what I saw.
yeah, I mean
little bit.
it's probably my favorite one since, well, I guess 5 is only 3 games ago, but I I had a lot of fun playing it this week. I have already played like 5-ish hours of it. Just been going through the missions. Like it just is like such an incredible looking game, and it's actually like the load times are super snappy on PS5, which is much obliged because Gran Turismo games have been notorious lately for having extremely long loading times. So like not being able to like go right into a race basically.
Have you like timed like how long it takes to like go from starting screen of PS5 to like into a race?
I
Like
have
if you're
not.
trying to
I
speed
need
it.
to. I probably should. Next time I play it, I'll
Speed
do a
test.
little timer. But yeah, I really like it, and it's kind of gotten my like hype back on the Sony side instead of the Nintendo side, because I still see, I haven't even played the Kirby demo because I've been playing fucking Gran Turismo, and Kirby was like my most anticipated game of the year, which is kind of funny.
It's so fun, dude.
I think I'll still end up playing the demo, and just I need to get the GT7 out of my system first. It is a pretty big file. I did have to make a little room for it, which now I'm like, god damn, the fucking PS5 with its like 600 gigabytes of usable space.
Wasn't it like 100 gigs?
Yeah, it's like 110.
Hey, GT7 is 110 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
There are moments where it looks like real life.
It's it's insane.
Actually, like the brake lights, dude. It looks.
Yeah, real. I don't even want to know how much time somebody spent like putting like
detailing
the brake like detailing the brake lights and like
that was the thing that I noticed. That is what I noticed. That was like, holy shit. That looked.
Yeah, and you
Polyphony digital.
Yeah, and when you get into the game, there's like you get to choose between like 2 modes. You can do like the where it's like prioritizes like ray tracing and shadows and all like reflections and all that shit, or you can change it to the mode where it prioritizes frame rate. I did the frame rate mode and it still looks like incredible. I haven't tried out the other mode. Maybe I will, but I mean, yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's like a lot of the charm comes from like the small details. Like I uploaded a video on Twitter yesterday where it's like if you put a wide body on your car that shows like an animation, the little Gran Turismo guy is like pulling the like car's like chassis, which is like definitely not how you get a wide body, but it's just like kind of a funny little detail in there.
Cool.
But yeah, it's got a lot of good little details, and I think because like Gran Turismo Sport just felt like it was like missing something. Like it didn't really have like the charm that like 5 and 6 had.
Yeah,
it just kind of felt like kind of soulless, where it was just like, okay, race online, idiot. But yeah, I really enjoyed GT7. If you're a racing game fan, I would highly recommend it.
Dude, when I was watching you play yesterday, one thing I also noticed was it's crazy when you're driving the car and there's like lights in the background. It's not just like generic lights that are like reflecting off the car. It's literally like you can tell the sign, the lit up sign that you just drove past, you can tell that it's like that on the car reflecting. It's absolutely insane how good.
And like people trying to like compare it to Forza, like that's like a poverty argument now, because those games are like in such different directions now.
If Forza makes a non-Horizon game, that can be compare those. But
well, I think like because there's Forza Horizon and then there's Forza Motorsport, which is like the Gran Turismo equivalent, and I'm pretty sure like it's generally considered that Gran Turismo is better than Motorsport.
Yeah, the thing I do like about Forza is that you can go like back, you can rewind.
Yeah, John was trying to rewind yesterday when he fucking crashed into a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, where's the rewind button? Nah, that's not on GT, but I wish it was.
I seriously, like, I've been playing the shit out of this game. I just got it Friday, and I think, I mean, like, when you get the game, it has to like download the rest of the data that you can't fit on the disc. So I didn't get to play too quick once I got it. But yeah, I mean, I put a bunch of time into it already, and I love it. Like, just the presentation's nice. Like the new like mission mode, like once you finish like a menu, which is like a group of missions, and it gives you like a history lesson on like the types of cars you just collected. It's got a lot of small things that make it really good, and I can definitely see why they haven't made a numbered one since like what was it, 2013 when GT6 came out.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I mean,
yeah, GT6 was like 2013. I think it came out like a month after the PS4.
Yeah, and I feel like Gran Turismo Sport is kind of like the prologue version of this one, like they did with GT5. They just didn't like say it was. But I mean, it's super fun. If you like Gran Turismo, or if you're a big Sony person, I would definitely recommend picking that bad boy up.
Highly
recommend.
Highly recommend.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, but I guess like on my end for the week, I was in Colorado for, I mean, I had kind of mentioned that because I was recording the last episode in Colorado, but I was there until Monday night. So I've been back in Tempe / Phoenix area kind of most of this week. I finished my first class, and you know, it always feels good. You know, like, you know, on Canvas they have like where you can see like the like mean of the test, you know, the low the test, the high the test.
I forgot about that.
And you know, like the mean of this fucking final was like 66%. And I was like, fuck yeah, because I got a B on it.
Oh yeah, snaps in the chat.
Yes, snaps in the chat. But yeah, and I'm pretty happy with my performance in the class. I got like an A in it. So now I have like a week to you know, jerk off and
a week to play Elden Ring.
Yeah, well, no, actually, I guess I'll get into that. But yeah, I have like a week before my next class starts, which is, I think this class was like if people don't know, I'm doing like a post-bac for the computer science masters, which is essentially you do like an accelerated run through of all the classes in like a year to year and a half. And then you can start the masters as long as you have a 3.0 GPA in those classes, like average, like put together. And yeah, so like my first class was like this Java fundamentals class, and this next one is going to be digital design, I think. So I'm very curious to see what that's going to be like. But I'm excited. Besides that, did finish Euphoria. We're going to save that for a later day, probably maybe when like me and Andrew are just doing an episode. Very one of the most interesting seasons of a TV show I've probably ever watched. That's all I'll say. I also watched the Kanye West documentary. I watched all 3 episodes of that, and that was actually pretty interesting. I thought the last episode was kind of whack though, but that was cool, I guess. And then besides that, it's cool, I guess. Yeah. Well, the first 2 episodes were really cool because they gave this like breakdown of like lead up into his first album, The College Dropout. Like, and then the last episode literally sped through late registration up until Donda. Like then it was like
just rushed.
Yeah, because people who haven't seen the documentary, it's not really necessarily a Kanye West documentary. It's kind of like somebody's experience adjacent to Kanye West, like this dude that was there for a big part of his career early on, but then really wasn't a big part of his career until the past couple of years again. And so there's this really big jump, you know, where it just speeds through like 2008 to like 2016, essentially, which is a big jump. There's a lot of stuff Kanye related that happens that, you know, the documentary doesn't really dive into. But besides that, I finally started Elden Ring.
Shit. After a week.
I know I wasn't
pre-ordered that hoe and couldn't even play it.
I know, pre-ordered it, didn't get to play it until I got back. I put about 7 hours into the game, which is probably equal to 7% through the game. Well,
Yeah.
Well, one of my brother's friends beat it, and he beat it in like 55 hours. So maybe not, but like I have a feeling it's going to take me longer because I'm really taking my time. And you'll probably be hearing that a lot, where I'm going to say I'm playing Elden Ring because it's a long game. But so far, thoughts on it? It is a fascinating game. It is just, like wherever you go, you have no idea what you're going to see or come across, and that's kind of like compared to Breath of the Wild, because that's what everyone's comparing it to. Breath of the Wild to me felt like it made the act of exploration super fun and like fascinating, interesting. Just the act of traversing that world and moving through that world was like, that game's like secret sauce. This game, it's like the actual like exploration itself, like what is around that next corner, what are you going to find, is this game's like secret sauce, I guess, like, because you genuinely do not know. Like, it is just like, so I've already seen some absolute like mad levels of shit where I'm just like, I turn the corner and I'm just like looking at this thing and I'm just like, like that's quite something. Like, or like, and I'm literally like, I made a TikTok about it where it's just like quit playing, man. Quit playing. put that on everything. I gotta fight that, bro. You put that on everything. But no, the open world is so interesting. Like, super, like, already, like, I'm like I said, I'm really early on into the game, and it's just such an interesting open world. Probably, and I've seen some of the shit later on, like from people's tweets, like Neil Druckmann's, like, yeah, he's fucking blazing through the game, and like he posted this like crazy Hogwarts looking castle and shit, and like I've seen like some shit later on, and like the thing that how it works with like these Souls games, and like specifically Bloodborne in particular, but from what I've gathered with this game, is like the more further on you explore into these games, just the more like nightmarish and like crazy and fucking like indescribable shit starts becoming, not just the environment, but like the enemies you're facing. It just gets fucking like the shit from your absolute like most disgusting nightmares, and it's cool to like see that like in like an open world setting where it's like this game world is like fucking nuts. Like it's wild, like like, and I'm really early on into it, so I'm really going to keep playing it, and it's been super fun. And Tana's loved watching it. I kind of was like talking to her. I was like, the games you usually like watching are
you
like,
sure you want to watch it?
Yeah, I did joke and ask that. But I was like, you like watching story games, so like, why? I'm like, what makes you really interested in watching this game that really pretty much is, it is like Breath of the Wild, where it's like the gameplay is the forefront, the actual exploration is the forefront. And she was just like, yeah, it's because the combat is like so fucking good. Like, she's like, the combat is so like fun and like intense and like great, like crazy to watch. Like, she was like describing it as like, like a dance essentially, like in every battle that you get into, it's like this back and forth dance between these two enemies, you and the enemy. And like I said, dude, this game is just fucking nuts already. Like, like, I'll keep everyone updated, and I'm excited to keep going. But yeah,
I'm excited to hear about it. And every TikTok I've ever seen of like Elden Ring, the only thing I've ever seen repeated is that one like gold dude on the horse or whatever at the beginning of the game.
Oh, the tree sentinel.
Yeah, and
I've
I'm
seen
pretty
that
sure
too.
I've heard, like, I've seen in the comments like, oh, you're not supposed to be able to kill him right away. And
Yeah.
people are like, I've been spending 6 hours trying to kill this dude. Like, died 70 times trying to kill this one dude.
Well, it's like when you get out into the open world for the first time, it's like that is like the first motherfucker you see. And like the game is like trying to teach you a lesson. Do not fight this dude. Like, there's gonna be challenges that you can't overcome right away. And like just go and explore elsewhere.
I've also seen some TikToks in like the later game where people's characters look fucking crazy. Like that, the weapons and stuff that you have, and it looks really cool, honestly. I kind of want to get it. I kind of want to, kind of don't. I don't know if I don't know if I want to put 100 hours into a game like this soon before my life changes. I don't know. But I kind of like, it looks really interesting.
Yeah, like I mean, obviously, like I can't make the claim of anything like, oh, it's like the greatest game of all time or anything like that because I'm so early on into it. But it's got its hooks in me. Like I've been thinking about this game like on and off. Like it's just been on my head, on my brain. Like I'm just like I want to go back to it and like just see what's around that next corner, see like the next crazy fucking thing.
Yeah,
because it is like you'll just literally like walk, like there's a lake really early on in the game and you'll just like walk alongside it. You'll just walk into the lake and this fucking huge dragon just shows up and just you're like, holy fuck. And then like this area I was just riding around. I'm gonna just give two more examples. Sorry, I'm kind of going on, but like like you in this open field and it's just like you're just riding in this open field and you see this huge castle in the distance and it's like fog, like super foggy, and you're like riding up to the castle and then all of a sudden you see this like 100-foot arrow like land next to you and you're like, what the fuck? And you just like it's just like this cool like open world like cinematic moment almost where you're just like riding towards the castle and you're like, what is shooting these huge arrows? And then you like pull up to the castle and there's this like 200-foot tall giant like like shooting arrows. And and then the last like another crazy example I saw was like I saw this like another like this open field and there's this big building with a bell, like this huge like 200-foot tall bell, and I started riding up to it and then the building stands up and the building is just walking around like it's like a turtle, but this and the shell of the turtle is like this fucking huge bell that's like ringing around. I'm just like,
that's crazy.
And it's just like that's just like very early on kind of shit, and I know it's going to get even like more fucking crazy. Like this is like the start of the game.
What would you compare the size of the world to, like map wise?
It's hard because it's not like Breath of the Wild where it's just like one like big landmass. It's like a peninsula that like curves left and then becomes big. I'd probably say like Breath of the Wild, maybe. Like that's probably like a good comparison point, I guess. But yeah, and it has that factor of Breath of the Wild where you can just go in any direction and just find yourself in some trouble,
Yeah, that's sweet.
But yeah, I'll keep everyone updated on that. But besides that, I also have been playing this game called Ghost Runner, which is this actually it's one of the free games on PlayStation Plus, and I was not expecting much out of it, but honestly, I've been really hooked on it because it's like the idea is like the levels are like 15 to 30 minutes, and it's all about like moving fast. It's all about like essentially you're this like cyborg ninja with this like katana, and like the whole game is like first person like parkour / platforming, like go as fast as you can to get to the end of the level, and you like fight people with your sword, but like you die in one hit and they die. Every enemy dies in one hit. So it's like you might part of the parkour might be like you have to clear this room of enemies, but you have to find like the perfect route to like go through the room and do
that actually kind of sounds like up my alley.
Yeah, like you have to like figure out like what's the perfect route to run through this room and like kill all these enemies, and just keep moving through the level and get like the fastest time on the level. So that game has been really fun. I told Andrew to check it out because it definitely seems like the game up his alley. But John, you might like it too because it is like a loads instantly just like every other game on PS5, and it's like you're in the level. You can like when I was like working, I would like take a break and be like, let me play a level of Ghost Runner, like 15 to 30 minutes. Like, let me just get that in real quick while I have this downtime. So it's been fun doing that. But yeah, I have a really big backlog of games that I'm trying to work through. Pokemon Legends, Arceus. I haven't even like I have fucking Horizon Forbidden West, and I literally have not like touched it yet. And then obviously Elden Ring, Kirby is going to be coming out soon. So I have a lot of Destiny 2 Witch Queen. I've been meaning to go back and play that. So I have a lot on my fucking plate. But I'm gonna probably try to play Destiny 2 this next week because Tana wants me to wait until she's back from Colorado to play out more of Elden Ring. But
that's the delay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Sure you want to watch this one?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's super, super fascinating game. And I hope you guys are willing to give it a shot. Maybe later down the line, I'll keep you guys updated on my thoughts on it. But that's how we're doing for the week. A little long, but yeah, let's kind of, and then obviously we all saw the main topic this week. You guys got to see it a day before me, which is funny because I was supposed to see it like 3 days before you guys. But honestly, yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the main topic, which is the Batman. All right, so the topic of today's episode, the main topic, is the newest film in the DC lineup, the newest solo Batman film, the first solo Batman film we've had in 10 years.
Twilight.
Twilight, the new Twilight film. It is The Batman, which I think was my most anticipated thing of 2022. I was really, really excited for this movie because I don't know if I mentioned it on this trail, but like I am a big, like I love Batman. Like the Arkham games are fucking amazing. Big fan of like the Nolan trilogy. Not really, didn't really care for Ben Affleck's interpretation of the character. But I was really, really excited about this film. And actually coming, I don't know if you guys know, but this movie was actually supposed to be Ben Affleck's solo film when it started out. It was actually supposed to be Ben Affleck directing the movie and he was going to star in it. And then he decided he wasn't going to direct it and Matt Reeves was going to direct it and Ben Affleck was still going to star in it. But then Ben Affleck dropped out of it and Matt Reeves was just like, okay, now I can just do whatever I want. I'm going to just make my own version of Batman. And then, we found out Robert Pattinson was going to be Batman. And that actually got me really excited because Robert Pattinson is one of the best actors in the game right now. He's one of my favorite actors, might be my favorite actor out right now, honestly. He's had a huge turnaround in the past couple of years with like Lighthouse, Good Time, Batman, Tenet. Like he's been on a fucking roll. And if you haven't seen like Lighthouse and Good Time specifically, those are fantastic films and his amazing performances by him.
Would you highly recommend him?
I would highly recommend it. I mean, Good Time is from the guy who made the Safdie brothers, and they made Uncut Gems. So if you want to see Uncut Gems, but with Robert Pattinson in it, Uncut Gems. It's so funny that's a meme that came out like right
after we did the episode.
Yeah, right after we did the episode.
The world revolves.
Yeah, I was Josh Shaftie's muse on Uncut Gems.
I was his muse on Uncut Gems.
But yeah, just safe to say my expectations or my hype for the film was through the roof. I wasn't expecting it to be like the best Batman movie ever because spoilers, Dark Knight is my favorite film ever made. And it's in it's in the conversation that film is in a echelon of its own. It's in discussion with like Godfather and like Shawshank Redemption, all these other films, as like greatest film of all time. Like it's in that conversation. So the only way a Batman movie could come out on top of that for me is if it was my new favorite movie of all time. So I wasn't expecting that, but my hype was still pretty high. General thoughts for me were I think this is a really great actually, starting point for like a new trilogy. It's a really unique interpretation of the Batman character. And honestly, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I think it has some issues, which we'll get into. But I really loved how, dark of a portrayal this was, and grounded portrayal this was, and this unique take on Batman. And I really liked, I almost felt like I was watching like an art house film at times with like the shots and things like that. It really felt like, I was watching a movie from like a director who had a unique vision. One thing I'll kind of throw out as a complaint to like Marvel films is like Marvel products nowadays feel like very kind of like homogenized in terms of their style and identity. Like they're clearly like all in one shared universe, and they have a very like generic style. Like there's not like a lot of like stylistic like deviation, I guess, but like the Batman feels like very like unique film and like how it's made and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed the film. And we're gonna break down every aspect of it. So I'll keep it general from there, but not the best Batman film. I'm not totally sure where it ranks amongst the Nolan films either. I think maybe I'll have a better idea by the end of this episode, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And so I guess what were your guys' like expectations coming into it and your thoughts?
I had very high expectations going into it. Yeah. Especially because the trailers were really well done, and that got my hype up a lot. And the fact that it seemingly had a lot of characters in it too, like a lot of like there's Catwoman, Penguin, the Riddler. I was like, okay, maybe it'll be difficult to balance all those, but it's a 3-hour movie, so they got time to do it. And also coming in knowing how the runtime, I was like, okay, this better be. I'm assuming it's going to be good because it's hard to put a 3-hour movie out and have it be dog shit. I feel like most long movies, I feel like are pretty good too. But I had really high expectations also considering I've heard comparisons to the Nolan films and how they were kind of trying to capture a similar essence. But generally, I thought it was, to keep it general, I thought it was really good as well. Obviously, it's not, the best Batman film because The Dark Knight is literally a god tier film.
Like, god tier.
It's so damn good. And you can never really replicate. I mean, it's hard to top that. It's really hard to top
that. That movie was like lightning in a bottle, like you're not going to be able to replicate The Dark Knight.
Exactly. And the Joker in that film was like the best villain of all time. So I knew that it probably wasn't going to top that, but I was hoping that it would be somewhere within the ranking, like not at the bottom of the ranking of the Nolan films if you compare them. And I actually like the 80s Batmans too. So I was hoping it'd be better than those two, and I think it was. But I thought Robert Pattinson did a great job as Batman. I'll keep it a little bit general right now, but he did a really good job. I did think there were times where it was a little overly dramatic, but that's not a complaint. This is a darker film, and you can tell by the way it was shot and everything that it's definitely darker toned. And I thought it was interesting that it almost captured that horror movie vibe a little bit. And the first day of the events of this film were Halloween. Yeah. But I really liked it. I was very surprised by how much I did like it. I did think it was a little long. But yeah, that's pretty much my general thoughts, but we'll definitely get deep dived into it.
Yeah, I think coming into this movie, I was, obviously not expecting it to be better than Dark Knight, just because Dark Knight's my favorite movie of all time. And that's a very high bar, but this movie came pretty damn close, about as close as it could without surpassing it, I think. For whatever reason, superhero movies are all over the place, and minus the Batman v Superman shit, Batman movies are always so well put together just because of the type of villain he is, or the type of hero he is and the villains he faces. I didn't expect it to surpass it, and I don't think it did surpass it. But the fact that two of the best movies I've ever seen are both Batman movies, and not even counting like Dark Knight Rises. It's like I thought like the runtime was fine. I was interested the entire time because it was just like like I liked it. I liked the LA noir style of this like movie, how it was like kind of like a detective like crime movie instead of just like Batman just beating the fucking shit out of like enemies. Oh, like the Dark Knight, that's the one thing I think I have a problem with it is like not necessarily that it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I like the LA noir theme, and I think the world building that they did in this game, like all the shots of Gotham like looking like a old like 1930s style like city, I thought that was super cool. And my favorite part of the movie obviously was how often Maroni was in it, baby. Maroni, the fall guy.
Yeah, so people don't know. We just have a stupid. We come up with a lot of dumb inside jokes, but I don't know, for some reason Maroni again has stuck around as like a joke for us. And before I actually saw this movie, so like the gap in between when they had seen it and I hadn't, I was just like, listen, like if they don't say Maroni in this film, like this movie is going to be like a fucking 0 out of 10, you know?
Salvatore
like,
Maroni.
And to my absolute dumbfounded fucking shock, like I just was like smiling the whole fucking time, you know, like the amount they say, not only do they say Maroni, they say Maroni probably like 10 times, 30 times more than fucking in the Dark Knight. Maroni is a point of conversation throughout this whole fucking film.
Literally.
Like I was just like, oh,
one of the first shots you see a poster that says Maroni on it, or a newspaper that's hung up on the wall.
Yeah, I literally was like,
I caught that.
In my boots. I was like, oh my god, bro, Maroni's back.
Yeah, Casey and I looked at each other and we're like, Maroni already.
You know, honestly, if all they had to do to make this the greatest film of all time was they just had to say Maroni, he's a fall guy.
He's a fall guy. I mean, I guess the Maronis kind of were fall guys again.
Yeah, the Maronis, man.
The Maronis, they're fall men.
Salvatore fucking Maroni.
Salvatore Maroni.
And I want to kind of get into like something, Andrew, you were talking about, like, you know, just the tone of this film. You know, one thing I think is super interesting about Batman is like, I mean, DC in general, it's so funny because it's like you have something like fucking so fantastical, like Superman, you know, this bright, you know, character, you know, even like Wonder Woman, and then you have something as like dark and fucked up and twisted as like Batman, you know, like I think it's interesting how you have this huge like spectrum in the DC universe, I guess. And let's talk about like just the tone of the film. I'll just say right off the bat, like this movie is fucking dark, bro. Like it definitely pushes the PG-13 like as far as you could push like a PG-13 film. Like there probably is a rated R cut of this movie, you know.
They even got their F-bomb in it. They got the one F-bomb in it.
Happy fucking Halloween.
I don't know if that was the best use of the F-bomb.
Yeah, but I was like, damn, that was their one F-bomb. They used it on
actually
that.
When he said that, and considering it was so early, I was like, is this rated R? I didn't even look.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. You like the beginning of the film, like when it's like, you know, they're really going for like the dark, like almost horror-esque tone throughout this whole film. Like when he's in that apartment at the beginning of the movie and like just Riddler just standing behind him, like I was like, yeah, like I was like, holy shit, like
that was creepy.
Yeah, and then he just smacking him fucking endlessly. Like I was like, okay, we're in for. I was like, they're not holding back on like how fucking dark this shit is. Yeah. And like even from there, like they just kept the, you know, even like they you know, they're setting up Batman as this like character that's something to be afraid of, you know, like my favorite part of this whole film honestly is that beginning sequence where Batman is like talking about you know, he's having that monologue, and he's just like it's not just a signal, it's a warning. And it's like, you know, it's like he's like I can't be everywhere, but they don't know that, like I am the shadows. And like it's just showing like the fucking bat symbol, and like people are committing random crimes and they're just looking into the alleyway, and it's just
It's
like
literally like an all-timer line.
yeah, amazing. And like just them showing the, like, you know, the alleyway, and even you as a viewer, you're like, is Batman about to like just come out and like fuck these people up? And then, you know, when he does show up, you know, finally, like, and he does this multiple times throughout the film, it's just like something out of a horror film, you know. You just like, you hear his footsteps first, you just hear his like loud footsteps in the darkness, and then he just like slowly emerges, and you're just like, holy shit. Like man, like when that happened in the beginning of the film, I don't know about you guys, but I was just like, yes, I was like, I'm on board.
I know,
yeah,
dude. I was on
like,
board immediately.
Yeah, I was just like, yes, 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 yes.
It grips you in right away, dude.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But like, what do you guys think of like the tone of this film, like how dark it is? And you know, because so many superhero movies today, even like the DC films, they do have like a more comedic and lighter tone, and this film is definitely not that.
Yeah, well, I actually really like the tone of it. Like, I do think there were moments where I'm like, okay, like, does it need to be that dramatic? But for the most part, I think it really it sticks to it and it does it well. And it's nice, actually. It's a nice like differentiation between this and every DC film and every Marvel film, because um, DC films of like the mid 2000s, or I mean the mid 2010s and beyond, I feel like we're just trying to copy the Marvel, like what they had
Yeah,
and their style, and this and the Joker before it do not. And this is darker than the Joker too. Um, and I really like it. Like I said, I feel like there are moments where I'm like, okay, come on, like this doesn't need to be that dramatic, but
well, like talk, like, what do you like do you have
uh,
some?
j- just some of the conversations he has with like Catwoman and Gordon. I can't think of anything like too specific. I just walked out thinking that it was like so like a little melodramatic, but I can't think of any. Like once we talk about it, I'm sure I'll think of something specific, but it's not a complaint or anything, because I think it sticks to the tone, it sticks to it well. And honestly, my biggest complaint was where I watched it, to be honest, because it wasn't loud.
Yes,
It wasn't
yeah.
loud enough, and it.
Oh, really?
Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I couldn't see very well either. There were moments where it was like almost too dark to like.
Where did you go to watch it?
Majestic.
Oh, stinky.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it was something with the just like I don't know, the lighting or something in the movie, or if it was the lighting in the theater with just the stair lighting, but there were moments that I had a hard time seeing a few scenes, and definitely the sound was not on point, at least in the theater that I saw it.
Yeah, I went to Exarban. I didn't notice any of that stuff when I watched it.
Like there were times where Casey and I couldn't even eat like our snacks because you couldn't, like it was just not loud enough in the theater.
Huh.
But
Damn.
that might have just been us.
Yeah, I didn't have that issue.
Yeah, I didn't have the issue, like when I was saying like I was at issue with where I saw it. I watched it in IMAX. So it was like a beautiful experience just seeing a, you know, big screen, large sound, loud sound. So that wasn't an issue. My issue was the fucking people that were in the movie theater, bro. This was like a top 5 or top 3, probably top 3 like awful experiences, like in terms of like having to watch it in the theater. Like
I actually had some shitlords sitting next to us that were being too loud and on their phone, and they had their phone at the fucking
dude, even
max
in my
brightness.
theater, there was somebody whose alarm kept going off every hour, and I was like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, my God, why do you even have a fucking alarm set every hour, you asshat?
Dude, I will not pull out my phone unless like there's a fucking emergency in a movie theater. Like I hate being on my phone in a movie theater because even the lowest brightness is like way too fucking bright. But
Yeah,
these
and it
people
was
next to
like
me were like laughing and like talking the entire time. And
it was like this group of like, I don't know. See, now that we're like out of college, I don't really want to say college age because that implies they're younger than us. But like guys like around our age that they walked in and I could immediately tell. I was like, oh, these guys are gonna be dickheads, which they weren't for the most part, but somebody's phone kept going fucking off like every like 30 minutes to hour. And I'm like, what the, like, shut the fuck up. Like, everybody else can do it. Why can't you do it, bro?
Yeah, and especially like in a movie like this where you want to be like dialed into the fucking movie, you know? Like I just for me, right off the bat, like right when the movie was starting, my mom is like blasting my fucking phone off. And I'm like, she's like asking me if my fucking license registration is coming. I'm like, I literally like I was like answering your question and she kept asking more questions. And I was just literally like, Mom, I'm in a movie right now. Like I was like, stop texting me.
No.
I was like, stop texting me. So I put my phone away. That was like right around when it was like about to start. I was like, okay. And then, you know, I just see people coming in, walking in the theater, talking still, like while the fucking you know, like the logo and everything, it pops up like pretty fast. Like it's not like some dramatic.
Yeah,
like,
and they're
intro or
walking in
anything.
late. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you,
Yeah.
like, if you're gonna walk in late, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. So like people were talking like right at the beginning during that. And I was just like kind of like right then and there, I was like prepping myself, like I was like, oh God. I was like, is this about to be a
One of
bad
those.
Yeah, it's about to be one of those. And it was one of those, bro, because literally like 45 minutes into the fucking movie, these people walk into the movie late and are like walking right in front of us, like in our, like, you know, we had to like kind of stand up a little to let them walk past us. And they were like having an argument with someone right next to us because they're like, oh, I think this is our seat. Oh wait, this isn't our seat. Wait, we have to walk back like across.
And the worst is when they come in late and can't find their seat and they have to turn their fucking flashlight on.
Yeah,
their
that's what.
fucking seat.
Why did
I'm
I
like,
have the
fuck
same shit?
you, dude.
Why did I have the same shit happen to us? Luckily, it was like right before the movie started, just in
Yeah.
the trailers. But
And this people like 2 rows in front of us and a couple seats to the left, they were like ordering food throughout the whole goddamn movie. And like, bro, there's a point where like like literally like the server kept coming in like, oh, who has the wings, who has this and that. And me at one point I looked over to Jim and I was just like, we just looked at each other and I was just like, holy shit, these people have been ordering food the entire fucking film. And at one point like they like knocked over like all of their food and it was like fucking like loud ass noise. I was like, oh,
bruh.
I was like, oh my.
How old were they?
Adults. They're fucking grown adults, bro.
What
Like,
the
Oh my
fuck?
god, dude, what the fuck?
so that
Yeah, I
was,
thought this dude with the fucking alarm that would randomly go off was annoying, but that's fucking awful, dude.
Dude, the people that were sitting next to us, I heard them fucking like spit a popcorn kernel in front of them. I literally heard like them spit something and I heard it land. I was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? I thought I was gonna get in a fucking fight with them. Like if they tried if they tried to spit something
tried to
at
be
me, I'll go all vengeance on them.
Yeah, I needed fucking Rob Pat to be sitting behind me waiting.
yeah, and like and I'm like, bro, I'm watching this shit in Scottsdale right now, bro. Like, you would think motherfuckers would have class up in this bitch. Like, this is the bougie part of town. Come on, bro. Like, these motherfuckers are acting.
In fact, it's the opposite.
Yeah, seriously, these motherfuckers were acting like complete jackasses. It was so fucking annoying.
Yeah, so with the tone of the movie, literally, it was dark, it was quiet for me anyway, and I had assholes sitting next to me. So
Yeah.
I fucking
I can't believe we all had that experience.
Of course, the one time I'm like counting down the days in anticipation for a movie is the movie that like people randomly act like why couldn't somebody act like a jackass at Uncharted, a movie I don't give a fuck about?
Yeah.
Like, why you have to do that during fucking Batman? Like in this Batman, like
People
come
were
on,
quiet
man.
during Uncharted.
But
Very quiet.
I did like the tone. I thought it like I always like when movies have a darker like I don't know what it is, but like when games have a darker tone,
You're
like that's why like
sadist.
Majora's Mask is like one of my favorite games because it's got a fucking dark as fuck tone. So like this movie is right up my alley.
You like the demon mode movies,
The goblin mode.
the goblin mode.
Yeah. Dark. I think darker tones are always like more interesting because that always puts the characters in a lot more interesting predicaments, you know.
And for having like a dark tone, like Robert Pattinson like pulled off having like this Batman like insanely well for how this movie is structured because like
I think Bruce Wayne is what I thought was melodramatic. Now that I'm thinking,
I thought like when he was acting,
he was just like always He was always pouting.
Yeah, and he like puts on sunglasses when it's bright outside. Just that, I was like, okay, that's fucking extra as fuck, but whatever.
So like that's actually, it's funny that you guys say that because oh yeah, let's talk about like Robert Pattinson as Batman, or just like this portrayal of Batman, where I actually liked it because like even when he's Bruce Wayne, because and I kind of maybe had this idea because they talked about this before the movie came out, where they're trying to show this Batman that's very rough around the edges, you know, that like is not, you know, like he doesn't know how to separate himself. Like he's like, even when he's Bruce Wayne in this movie, he's still Batman, you know, like
Yeah.
like I don't think we ever really see Bruce Wayne in this movie, you know, like
You really don't.
like even when he goes to that funeral, you know, like the one public appearance he makes, he's like, I'm just going there because I think the Riddler might be there, you know, like, and but honestly, like Johnny, you're saying in your general thoughts, like I think Robert Pattinson was like really, really good in this movie. Like he does, and it's funny because like I was talking to my dad about this film, and that one of his complaints actually was like there was times where he felt like he should be like saying something, but he wasn't. And I actually like that. I actually felt like he kind of brought like a physical, like he did a lot of like physical acting with the role, where you know, like even like perfect example is that funeral scene. That funeral scene, dude does not say a fucking word. Like, but he convey you can see, you can like, he conveys a lot, like just through his like looks on his faces, you know, like the look on his face, and like
I didn't think about that, but he does.
Like he conveys a lot just through his eyes, and it's like even when he's the Batman, you know, like when he just like there's that scene later on in the movie, and like you know, the cop is like, what are you doing in this crime scene? And like all he has to do is just like look at it, you know, and it's just like you get what he's conveying just through like how he's,
And like when he looks at the kid that like is now an orphan. Like,
yeah, you can tell like, oh, he doesn't have to say anything, you know exactly what he's thinking, you know, he's thinking that's like me, you know, like
exactly.
There's a lot of good, like, and that's like, you know, a sign of a great actor, like and so I think he was a really fantastic, like he did a fantastic job with what he was given. And specifically like this interpretation of Batman I think is super interesting because it is, you know, I think one complaint people have thrown at the Nolan trilogy is he doesn't do like as much detectiving as like maybe people would want, because you know, like one of Batman's nicknames is world's greatest detective, and he's like a full-on like detective in this movie, you know, he's trying to solve the case, and
he's also very out like dusty ass old files from a file cabinet. Like,
yeah,
figure this shit out.
And I like how he's rough around the edges where he's still trying to like figure shit out, and you can tell because like he straight up like fucks some shit up in this film, like, you know, like maneuvers and things like that. Like one scene I love is like where you know, he's about to like, he's at the top of the GCPD and he's about to jump off, and even like before he even jumps off, he's kind of like gasps a little because he's like, you can tell he's like he's still really early on and he's like afraid of heights, you know, just but even then he like does the glide and he fucks up the glide maneuver, you know, and he like
Casey laughed her ass off when that happened.
Yeah, the parachute gets caught on the bridge and he's like just tumbling like a fuck.
You pulled it at the worst fucking time.
Yeah, but I like that because I added like an extra depth of like, oh, you know, he is just like a human being, you know, at the end of the day. The one thing I think that people will meme on, you know, people memed on the Christian Bale's like gruffly voice. I actually love his voice, Batman's voice in this film, Vengeance. But
that was a really good job.
I think the thing that people meme on is like how slow he walks in this movie. Like, which they kind of explain it because it's like, oh, he's walking around slowly because he's like recording everything, but it's also like, damn, this motherfucker walks at like 0.25 times speed like everywhere.
I guess I didn't notice that.
That's just something I thought about, like he just walks around slowly everywhere, but it adds to his like menacing tone. But what do you guys think of like Robert Pattinson, how he performed, and also like you know, this portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Batman?
I thought he was really, really good. It was funny to like, because obviously I'm going to compare it to the Nolan trilogy or like the Dark Knight specifically. But there are two totally different Batmans and two totally different Bruce Waynes too. Like the Bruce Wayne in the Nolan trilogy is really like this billionaire playboy, and he's still like within his, like, he's still a businessman too, but I didn't see like any of that he like this Batman, Robert Pattinson's Batman, does not give a shit about Wayne Enterprises. I don't even think Wayne Enterprises, it like quote unquote, is even mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think it is once. But yeah, he's very much into the Batman, and like he wants his legacy to be the Batman rather than like Wayne Enterprises. So I don't know if he like, I don't know if this version of Batman wants to like get his identity out, because he's like, that's my legacy when he's talking to Alfred. But I really, really thought he did a good job. I thought his voice, the scruffy or gruffy tone or whatever, he did a really good job of. And that was kind of like, I think that was taken, I guess, from the Nolan films a little bit, the tone, but vengeance.
My name is
My name is Nah, but he did a really good job. And the only thing I just felt like, and this is fine because the movie is called The Batman and it's not really focused on Bruce Wayne at all, but like Bruce Wayne didn't feel like Bruce Wayne in this movie to me. But that's fine. I mean, it is the Batman. And I did really like how intelligent he was, because in the other Batman movies, it like, I feel like a lot of Bruce Wayne's intelligence actually comes from the people around him and the
Yeah, that's a good
Batman
point.
too. But
Like
in this one,
Lucius.
yeah, exactly. But like in this one, yeah, Alfred helps him out a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's like he's the one solving the case and the riddles, and um it's really cool also to see like the dynamic between him and Jim Gordon, and it really is like, it really is a detective movie. And it's cool to see him fight when he does too. There's not a ton of fighting, but when he does it, it's
Badass.
really, really good. Yeah, it's really well done. And I love the fact that he is so feared in this universe. Like in the other Batman movies, like the Nolan ones, every villain thinks that they have a chance. Even every stupid ass little henchman is like, it's this guy. Like, we'll just shoot him. But the amount of times Robert Pattinson takes a fucking gunshot to the like dome and he's fine.
I thought that was so badass how you can just take like fucking assault rifle bullets, like just walk them
Yeah,
off.
that scene where he's in the dark hallway, just like taking bullets and knocking people out is fucking awesome.
That was an amazing shot.
That
That was so fucking awesome seeing that. Like
like
that's what I was saying. Like it felt like an art house film at times. Like just the cinematography and things like that was like beautiful, like amazing.
Now, this is cinema.
Like on a technical level, this film is probably on a technical level. This is like the best Batman movie.
Yeah, not even just the tone of like the characters and the vibe of Gotham, everything, including the music and the way it was shot, is very, very dark. But yeah, Robert Pattinson does a great job, and I'm super excited to see like what the next film has in store for Batman. But he's good. He's so good.
Yeah, he does a really good job, and I think the Patman,
the Batman.
He's been like on,
Pattinson.
like you said, Ursel. He's like been on like a resurgence, like having like The Lighthouse and like Tenet, and now Batman. It's like damn, this man's really got famous from being a fucking sparkly vampire, and now he's cooking, and now he's the fucking Batman, bro.
Yeah,
like
no one can ever call Robert Pattinson the guy from Twilight ever again.
Yeah, now he's the fucking Batman, bro.
He's not a vampire, he is the Batman.
Yeah, I think I think he pulls it off really well, and you know, maybe it's just like him how he looks naturally, but he looks like a fucking like goth ass Batman, like with his like long ass hair and always just looking like, I mean, even in like the funeral scene, like you can just like tell he's like in like a much darker like tone than the Batmen that we've seen in the past, especially the Bruce Wayne for sure.
He gives a like, it's not a phase, mom. He gives that vibe off a little bit when he's Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, I think he does a really good job, and I think like you touched on, John, he seems like more of a detective this time, and like actually has, and it's like it's kind of like a true crime movie, like I don't know what genre it is, but like it's like a crime movie almost.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. And yeah, I think like him and Gordon, like, I mean, the dynamic between those two are always like really good, especially in the Dark Knight, and all of the, the Dark Knight trilogy. But definitely in this movie, I thought it was like much cooler seeing, because I don't think Gordon is like the commissioner, is he? He's just like a detective in this one, right?
Yeah, I think so. If I had to make a guess, because even in like the Dark Knight trilogy, he doesn't even become Commissioner Gordon until the Dark Knight.
Or yeah.
But well, I'm curious though. What did you guys think of like the suit, like in comparison to other like Batman adaptations? Because I actually really liked it. I specifically like. I mean, John had that as background. I love the collar. I don't know why. Like it just I like, and it looks like a little bit more makeshift as well. Like like even when he puts on his like he doesn't even use his cape to like soar around. He uses like a wingsuit, that comes out of his thing. Like it feels like a mix of like homemade, but also like very like
and you can
militaristic.
You can tell that too, like just in the difference between like the Dark Knight's Batmobile and this Batmobile. This Batmobile is just like a normal car that he put like a fucking jet engine on for some fucking reason. And like,
yeah, it's a muscle car.
Yeah. And like the one in the Dark Knight is like this futuristic ass like cyberpunk car.
Yeah, I thought I wasn't gonna like the Batmobile either, but
the scene with the Batmobile is one of the best scene.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
the reveal of the Batmobile is,
oh my god, bro.
The reveal of the Batmobile in this is the most badass like shit. And that whole scene in general was just wild. I can't believe, like, I didn't know until you sent that TikTok, Andrew, that was actually like practical effects, that they did that.
Yeah, same. I thought it was probably CG,
Yeah, that's badass, dude.
It was so good.
And I love how they kind of like introduced the Batmobile the same way they introduced Batman. Like Penguin like thinks, oh, Batman shot, and then he just looks off into the shadows.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, and the car's revving up and all this big shit. And IMAX, that scene was fucking awesome. Like that was an amazing like introduction to the Batmobile,
I think it's cool like how many like different like the repetition in the movie, how like you said, Ursula, like when the Batman first comes, they're looking in the dark alleyway, and then the Penguin sees the Batmobile in the dark alleyway, and then just like how like that main theme is just like redone throughout the entire movie. That's like basically the entire soundtrack is the fucking main theme, just like redone in different like versions to like fit the scene.
Yeah, and like speaking, you mentioned repetition, Andrew. One of the things also like just the evolution of Batman in this film, like how he, like you can tell Batman like he's learning, like throughout this whole film, like how to be a better Batman, and like it's funny, because there's a reoccurring kind of like location throughout this whole film, which is that the Iceberg Lounge, and like he goes to that 3 different times, and the first time he literally just walks into the front door as Batman. He's like, you know who I am. And that first time he literally has to like fight through like the nightclub. And that's probably like my favorite fight scene, like when it's like a really cool backdrop, like with like all the flashing like red lights and everything, and like he just like beating people up and like getting shot in the club and everything. That was like a really cool, like one of my favorite like fight scenes. And then also then after that he goes as Bruce Wayne, and it's actually easier for Bruce Wayne to go and talk to like the higher ups than Batman. And then the third time he just sneaks by, he doesn't even like make his presence known.
Yeah,
like,
he locks the dude out.
yeah. So it's like interesting to see like how he like learns, like even like he tackles the same circumstance multiple times, and then like from in that same circumstance he figures out how to keep approaching it better and better every time, and it works out. And I thought that was like a really cool kind of instance of that. But I love that
Bruce Wayne.
yeah come on in. But yeah, like that, specifically that fighting scene at the beginning with him in the nightclub, that was awesome. And it actually reminded me of a scene from The Dark Knight. Like there's a scene where
there's a nightclub scene.
Yeah, there's a nightclub scene.
Salvatore Maroni.
Yeah, in The Dark Knight,
Yeah.
Which it reminded me a lot of that, which I thought maybe it was a little callback, but I don't know. But I thought that the scene in this one was better because the one in the Dark Knight's pretty short, but this one was like an extended fight sequence in the nightclub, and it was really cool.
Yeah, the
but
use of fighting. I feel like the use of fighting is really well done too in this movie. Like it's
yeah,
not there's not too much of it, but when it is there, like it's dope.
yeah, and there are like there's things that I think that this film does do better than the Nolan trilogy, and that's like, and I think the fight scenes is one of them. I think like the way the fights, like the general fights, are like filmed and things like that. They're not like shaky cam, like they're like very like steady shots, where you have a clear view of like what's going on, what the action that's happening, and that I think is really done. But also another thing that I think this film does the best out of any um, movie, any adaptation, and it reminded me. This is what it really reminded me of, like the Arkham games, was the portrayal of Gotham. I thought Gotham in this film was like, it really felt like its own place. In the Dark Knight trilogy, it definitely felt like a stand-in for other locations. Like in the Dark Knight, it's clearly filmed in like Chicago, like it feels like a stand-in for Chicago. In Dark Knight Rises, it's filmed in New York City, definitely feels like a stand-in for New York City. But in this, it felt like its own unique city, with its like the neon lights, it's always raining. Really gives you this vibe of that like Gotham City is like the shittiest place in the fucking world.
Literally, yeah. It's like it's such a dark place, and I like that because you would imagine with Arkham and the fact that they have such a high security prison, you'd think that the other movies would portray the fact that Gotham's a shitty ass place. But this movie does it better than any other Batman movie. And it's dark. They call back to that all the time. They talk about how the mob owns the police all the time. It really feels like a shit place to live. I can't imagine living in this Gotham. But the other movies, like the Nolan films, I could easily see myself living in Gotham because it doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, and also I think one thing that adds to that is like the movie is like 90% at night, you know, so it like really adds to that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's really fucking dark down to the time of day that it's filmed.
Yeah. But what did you think, Andrew, of the portrayal of Gotham?
I mean, I liked how because there's that one shot where it's like that like kind of like culvert where it's like all these like old school like retro lights, and then there's like all these like older cars going through, and like street cars and shit. I thought that was like a very cool rendition because you always see Gotham, like you said, as like Chicago or New York, like a futuristic city, but like this one seems like more like scaled back. Like I don't want to say like steampunk, but like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I totally
like
get
the type of city it's in seems just more like industrial, I guess.
Yeah.
I like this portrayal of Gotham a lot because I think it fit right in with like the LA noir style of game, and like all the alleyways they show, and like all like the dim light, like there are lights in the city but they're all very dim to give kind of like that darker tone. I think this Gotham is probably one of the better ones. I mean the Dark Knight one and the Dark Knight Rises one are obviously iconic, but you don't really see much of like the city as much, I guess.
Yeah.
But this one showed a lot of like shots of like the overhead view of the city, and like just like shots of like busy bustling areas of the city to give you kind of like that atmosphere that it's in, and especially like the Iceberg Lounge being in like a cold storage warehouse basically is super cool. I mean it kind of like it kind of gave me like GTA 3 vibes throughout the whole movie, because like GTA 3 is like this dark like grisly city, and it's just like raining all the fucking time.
Yeah, it's always raining in fucking GTA 3.
Yeah.
It really envelops you in. Even like the opening scenes where it's like something in the way, and it's like just showing the bat symbol and like all the different crimes that are happening around the city. Like it really ropes you in.
And the monologue like at the beginning and at the end, like it really kind of paints the picture to me like if this is like noir, because like the detective monologue, that's like so detective noir, so I love that they're like really going all into that vibe like for the whole film. Speaking of like the detective stuff though, like I want to kind of talk about like what you guys thought of like the main mystery kind of at hand of the film, because honestly, I was really like kind of interested for the whole mystery of the film, you know, like all the riddles that the Joker is playing, like what is this like dark, seedy shit that that's like taking over Gotham, you know? And I liked actually like kind of the progression of it where it kind of comes back to Bruce Wayne, you know, that this comes back to the Wayne Foundation and how they're using this like big pool of money to just keep the city corrupt essentially. And it shows that, in like the Nolan films, even too, like it kind of was like his parents were this like shining beacon of hope, you know, like, but in this, it's like, well, what if they made a few mistakes, you know? And even he like kind of struggles with that where he's like, oh, like, I feel like I'm fighting for something, you know, like that just contributed to all this. But I thought that the mystery was really cool. I think the only thing I felt like it was kind of lacking was I feel like it could have really used like some crazy twists at the end. I thought it was kind of like, my main issue with the film is like I feel like the third act is a little anticlimactic. And like it being Falcone was kind of like, well, like, yeah, no shit. Like it comes back to him. Like he's the fucking guy that runs like he's like I guess like the big reveal is that like everyone is in his pockets. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, we gotta find the rat to get to the Riddler, and he was it.
Yeah, and I did like kind of like near the end where like you think that the Riddler knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, but he actually doesn't. So
yeah, like the trailers even make you think that the Riddler knows.
Yeah.
And that whole scene, like the way
You're on the
that
edge of your seat.
Batman was like looking down, he's like, oh shit, he knows. What am I
Yeah,
gonna
it's
do
like
about
he's
it?
embarrassed, you know? Like,
Yeah.
but what do you guys think of like kind of the main mystery? I actually really like the riddles that, the Riddler, how they're trying to like figure out like, like what like kind of a stupid line, but like thumb drive or like
Yeah.
or like, oh, you like, or how like even they still make mistakes, they think it's like lata whatever, but it's like el rata something, el la rata or something.
Yeah, the Penguin's like, even I know my like Spanish.
Yeah. So I really liked the mystery. I just thought it kind of missed that like kind of finishing like oomph, where with like the payoff, like, oh, the rat is Falcone, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, the riddles that were placed and how every person that was killed, there was a new riddle and shit. I really liked that. But honestly, my main complaint, I think, was the fact that that was repeated so many times. I feel like, I don't know, like maybe the Riddler could have switched shit up, but that was just the way he did things. But I thought it was like toward the end, I was like, okay, like there's gonna be another clue, and I was like, when are they gonna find out who the rat is? And it seemed like they were never gonna find out. And I thought it was just like it took them a little too long to get there, but I did think it was really cool the way they went about it and how it was like really hard to get there, even though it did take a little too long, I thought. And I think it was funny how they went through all that shit on the highway, and like the whole badass car chase scene was like basically done for nothing. Like it was basically just all of that mayhem happened because they fucked up something so simple. Like they didn't know, like L versus La,
because they thought the Penguin was the rat.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of funny that all that shit happened for basically nothing. But I thought it was cool. It was really interesting to see the Riddler as a villain, because I don't think maybe he was done in like the 80s movies, right?
Well, he was the villain in the shitty movie known as Batman Forever, and it was played by Jim Carrey. And that was a very, very different interpretation of the Joker. That was like pretty much, yeah. I like that. I like that, or not Joker, Jesus, of the Riddler. And yeah, I like that he was like kind of a scary motherfucker in this film.
Yeah, and I mean, it just, I don't know why for me it felt like it just took a little too long, or like there were too many riddles. Maybe that's just like
The Riddler's riddling too much.
There's too many riddles from the Riddler. My favorite part, though, about the whole detective thing, though, really was how he worked together with Jim Gordon and just their dynamic. I thought was really cool. I keep going back to that, but that was like one of my favorite things about the movie was like them interacting together.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it felt like a buddy cop film, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're both on the case together. And it was like, you know, he had to kind of like sneak him into like crime scenes, and like the cops don't like him. They're like, what the fuck is he doing here at this crime scene? He's a vigilante, you know? Yeah, I really like the dynamic.
Jim Gordon must have some sort of authority because he was able to bring Batman into everything. Like he must have, I don't know like what his title was in this movie because I don't think it says, but he must have had some sort of authority. But yeah, I thought the whole mystery aspect was really cool. Just too long. I don't know.
I didn't think it was too long, but I think it felt very similar to The Dark Knight, where like the Joker's just picking off like important people. But like this one, it felt like that, but like this one actually had a reason because it was like trying to like connect all these corrupt people, and then you found out about their corruption like after the
Wayne Foundation.
Yeah, I thought yeah, I mean it did have a lot of parallels to the Joker and Dark Knight, but I feel like this one, if they were trying to emulate it, I think they did it a little better because it kind of shows you why they targeted who they targeted, or why the Riddler targeted who he killed.
Yeah, and then the Dark Knight is just Joker's like anarchy. It's just chaos, you know.
Yeah, the Joker's just like anybody of importance, like no matter what they've done, they just fucking whack them. But I did think like the Riddler's clues also reminded me a lot of the Joker's killings in The Dark Knight, because it's like, you know, like when the lady gets in her car and it's like, look up, and then the fucking car blows up. But instead it's like all the letters are to the Batman, you know, and like especially when Alfred opens the one and it blows up, it's like for Bruce Wayne's eyes only. And then it's in like a fireproof like letter thing.
Yeah, bro, I actually, no lie, I actually was like thinking like, bro, are they gonna kill Alfred? Because like he wasn't really that big of a part of the movie, and I was like, I could see them doing that because it's like a new take on the story. I don't know. Did you guys think they were gonna kill Alfred?
I kind of thought they were, but I mean, as we saw, they didn't like he was on like life support for a while.
Yeah, and it was funny because Alfred was played by Schmeagol.
Oh yeah, that is him.
Yeah. Which so was funny. And he also played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes movie. So, you know, it looks like Matt Reeves really liked working with Andy Serkis, who is also the director of Venom: Let There Be Carnage.
Oh God.
Yeah, the director of Venom: Let There Be Carnage is Alfred in this movie, guys.
He should stick to acting.
Yeah, because he's a lot better of an actor. A lot better. Way
better.
I think this is a good opportunity to talk about, I think, maybe some of the supporting cast of this film, like specifically like Riddler, the three on my mind, Riddler, Gordon, actually even four, I guess, Penguin and Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman, which I think they all did a really good job. I think you know, and the dynamic between them all. Colin Farrell does not at all look like looks unrecognizable as the Penguin.
It's crazy. They did a really good job with his like makeup and shit.
Yeah, I also thought Jim Gordon was really good. His actor, I don't know if you guys know, but he's Isaac from The Last of Us 2.
Yeah. I remember us talking about that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's also in the James Bond movies. He's Felix. I remember. Fucking Felix dies in no time to die. Spoilers.
Jeffrey Wright is so underrated, dude. This movie made me realize how underrated
Casino Royale too.
Yeah. Oh my God,
bro. I the main thing I love about Jeffrey Wright is like I love his voice.
Yeah.
like oh, and he's the Watcher in What If.
Oh yeah. Oh my
God. Dude, and like
everywhere.
Like Andy Serkis, like dude, his like went on his Letterboxd, dude, he's in so many fucking like popular ass movies. Like he's somebody that's in like all these like high grossing franchises. He probably makes boatloads of money, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he was Claw in Black Panther.
And he's Snoke. in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, he's Snoke, he's Claw in Black Panther, he's Schmeagol, he's Caesar in Planet of the Apes, he's Alfred in Batman. Making
he
that fat money.
directed the best movie of 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
great.
in so
Let There
many
Be
movies,
Carnage.
dude.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
He's
Same
even
with
in the
Jeffrey Wright.
Prestige.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
in the Nolan universe.
yeah, he's Tesla's assistant. I forgot about that.
Shit.
Yeah, he's in
Dude,
so
this
many
dude's just
things.
fucking all over, bro.
That's the
Yeah.
thing I really like about this movie too, is that like everyone does a great fucking job in their role. Like
Yeah.
everyone's role I felt like was done really well. Even though Paul Dano or whatever is a very nerdy ass, dorky looking ass villain.
I will actually say, I probably, if we're like putting it in a totem pole, like there was a few times where I was like not sure if I was supposed to interpret how he was acting as creepy or funny.
There were
Like,
times where I actually liked, like, he had a following.
yeah,
Like,
that was the fun. Hey guys, that was so fucking funny. Hey guys, I really want to give a shout out to this amazing community.
Thanks for 500 followers.
it was weird that he had like a following and like people almost like enjoyed what he was doing because he was taking down like a lot of the corruption in Gotham. A lot of the big players in it, at least.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting dynamic. But yeah, like I thought Gordon was really good. I don't know if I like him as much as Gary Oldman in the Dark Knight trilogy. But he was still a really good counterpart to Batman. And I did like how they were like, there's a really good like dynamic where they're constantly working through this case together. Like they were always together, pretty much working on it.
It was like Jim Gordon was literally like his fucking sidekick. Or Batman was like his sidekick almost.
Yeah, he was like the Robin, to him almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One dynamic that I was a little more mixed on was Batman and Catwoman. That because I thought Zoe Kravitz did a good job, like in her performance and things like that. I just thought that the sexual tension dynamic of it was like kind of unnecessary.
It didn't really make that much sense to me.
Yeah,
like when they kissed, I was like, okay.
Yeah, it felt like very like forced.
Yeah, very like shoehorned in there. They were just like, well, there's all this tension. They have to do something.
Yeah, they didn't need to have that dynamic, I felt like.
Yeah, and I honestly would have preferred the like dynamic that they also have, and I kind of wish they kept it to this where and it would have fit with like how they're portraying Batman, where I wish they just kept her as like someone that Batman viewed as like a means to an end, or like like he's just using her to solve the riddle, because there's a point where she's like, oh, you really don't care what happens to me, and he just doesn't answer, like because he he doesn't give a shit. Like he's just trying to like just like go into the nightclub, like don't think about your feelings, like just do this, and he
and that's another reason why their little romantic dynamic didn't make sense. I felt like yeah, I don't know, that was weird.
Yeah. And then like same with the Riddler, I really liked his like their take on him, where he was like supposed to be a darker character, but I thought it was sometimes a little goofy, like his like obsessive heavy breathing, and like
it gave me a mix of like literally like a mix of the Joker and Bane. Like they had a baby and it was the Riddler.
But I thought like one of my favorite supporting characters was the Penguin. I thought his scenes were always like super entertaining, and how he played off the Batman. But I guess, what did you kind of think of that quartet of supporting characters?
Oh, obviously I love the Penguin. He did a really good job.
I got you.
I love his character, and I think he would be a badass, like honestly, villain, like fully fledged villain in the next one.
They're actually making a spin-off HBO Max TV show about him.
Of course they are.
Yeah, I know. Of course they are. But yeah.
I just love his character. He was done really well. Also, Jim Gordon, I thought was great. I've talked like 3 times now about the dynamic between him and Batman. I loved how they were always on the case together, and just their dialogue I thought was really good together. And then the Riddler, although he was really goofy, I did respect him a lot as a villain. Even though I thought like he could have switched shit up a little bit, but I mean, the Riddler does what the Riddler does, and he
Riddles.
did it well. Yeah, he riddled.
Riddle me
Even,
this.
even though I think there could have been one less riddle, maybe. That's kind of a silly complaint, though. It's not even really a complaint.
I wish
one
the
less
villain-
riddle for
I
the
wish
I was
the
just like,
villain would have
oh,
done
okay, we're
one
doing
less of
another.
his. I wish the villain would have done one less of his main villain trait.
I know.
Making
I was just
riddles.
like,
That bastard. How dare he?
I was just like, oh god. But I thought
Well,
he was
actually,
really good.
John, I'll kind of chime in, like, kind of to throw in one of my cons of the film is like I get what you're saying, because to me, like, the film felt like very like the progression was like very straightforward in terms of like it was kind of like one scene after another. Like, it's kind of like hard to differentiate like the 3 acts in this film. It just felt like another series of events. You know, there wasn't like this big climax or like and this downfall, you know, like it just kind of felt like a progression of events.
Which is fine. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just different, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, it almost made it feel a little bit long. Like, I thought
Yeah.
the movie was closer to ending like 30 minutes prior to when it did,
Like when
which
he
is
gets
not a
caught.
bad thing. I was
Yeah.
interested the whole time, but other than I just thought the Riddler was a little bit goofy, but he was a really good villain. But there were times where I was like, is it just like, are they trying to take like a mix of the Joker and Bane? It really felt like they took a lot of influence in his character from prior villains. But I mean, a lot of the villains in the Batman universe, I feel like, are somewhat similar in their endeavors and what they're trying to do. But I did like the fact that he had a following and that like there were people on his side. I thought that was cool, because like the Joker and Bane, there weren't people on their side in the Nolan universe. But
I did think one of my complaints is they made like the girl that like gets elected as mayor, they made her like just a complete fucking brain dead idiot in like the last part of the movie. Like, they're like, oh, there's people here that might assassinate. She's like, I have to go out and talk to my city. And like she can literally see like people with guns pointed at her. And she just like still goes up there and like, oh, she gets shot. Wow, fucking big surprise. There's 9 guns pointing at you and you still walked out there.
it was
Like,
funny that Jim Gordon was just like, all right, go ahead, idiot.
It's like, okay, whatever, dumbass.
Yeah. I thought she was, but I mean, she served her purpose, I felt like, in the movie just fine. And then Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, I did like her a lot. I thought she was a really good Catwoman. I just couldn't tell her sexuality. I really
Why is that important?
No, it's not. I'm just like, I was like, okay, what's her dynamic with Robert Pattinson? Because I thought she was like dating that chick that got killed, and then like,
geez, I wonder if there's like a term for people that swing on both sides of the fence.
No, and that's fine. It just like played into the fact that the romanticness or the romanticism between like Batman and Catwoman just didn't make sense. Even more so because she was so sad about her, I guess, partner, I think, getting killed.
I
don't know. It didn't really I guess it explained it with a kiss in like the beginning of it, in the beginning of the movie. So, but she got over that so fast and was like, oh, I like the Batman, unless she was trying to like play him a little bit. I don't know.
Isn't that how it is in like the Dark Knight Rises though? Like the Catwoman's just like playing the Batman.
Yeah, but it just wasn't fleshed out, I feel like, enough. And like if she was just trying to play him, there wasn't a clear reason besides maybe just him being backup for her fighting people. I don't know, but I thought their relationship was a little meh. But the supporting cast honestly was great, and I really do think that everyone did a really good job in their role.
I agree. I would definitely say that they casted all the characters very well. I feel like all the characters serve their purpose. Like you said, Ursula, like it's kind of hard to see if they casted the Joker to be like a true villain or just like this goofy asshole.
You mean Riddler?
Yeah, Riddler. Sorry.
I say yeah.
Yeah, you guys. I think we've all done that actually now.
Yeah. I mean, I think all like Jim Gordon perfectly cast. Like especially the voice of Gold. And then like obviously, like I said earlier, like Robert Pattinson was like a very good Batman for the type of Batman that this one was written to be, with a much darker tone. I did, however, think like at the end of the movie, just to go into like the Joker being at that prison.
Yeah,
I was
that
like,
was one of my
what
least
the
favorite
fuck?
scenes in the whole film. That's probably my least favorite scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, that was my least favorite scene, because I was like, what the fuck are you trying to do here? Like, are you trying to introduce the Joker? Because this Joker, I can tell, like, and people, because I don't think that the Joker hasn't been in a Batman movie since Heath Ledger. So it's like, or I mean, there's a standalone film, but not in the actual Batman film. So it's like,
I knew by his laughter that I would not like this Joker.
Yeah, I'm like, you're trying to follow up like one of like the greatest Joker of all time, and I mean, not a great start, because he just doesn't sound like the guy that was being the Joker was like very. He seemed like too happy and excited. I was like, bro, okay.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene at all. Like, it almost felt like something that was like contractually obligated or some shit, which was like, and also it felt so weird because, I mean, I didn't love the Joker movie, but I thought Joaquin Phoenix did a really good job in that film as playing a different version of the Joker. And I mean, he won a fucking Oscar for that movie, and like, his performance, say what you want about that film, his performance was great. Not as good as Heath Ledger, but still a great performance in its own right. But that was only like 2-3 years ago, and it's like, well, now we're about to get, this might be the third Joker we're about to see in the past 10 years. So there's also Jared Leto's Joker, which is fucking terrible. But like Jesus Christ, like I hope like it won't be as bad if like a few years from now we find out like the villain in the sequel is a different character, and maybe that was just like an Easter egg, right? But like,
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, I really don't want I really don't want the villain to be the Joker in the second film. Like there's so many other interesting villains that could be like, I mean, I'd love to see like Mr. Freeze or something.
Well, it's not going to be the Penguin,
Right,
since he's getting a fucking HBO Max series.
Yeah.
I wish it would have been the Penguin, honestly. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah, what do you think of that scene though, John?
I thought it was just like the relationship with Selena Kyle. I thought it was very shoehorned in, and just like it didn't make sense to me. I was like, okay, I guess it's maybe setting it up for a sequel, but that's the only reason. Like, that's the only thing I thought of it. I was like, okay, I guess maybe this is going into the next one.
Yeah, but it was funny because it was like rumored for a year that this actor was going to play the Joker, Barry Keoghan. People don't know, he's the idiot who like goes blind in Dunkirk, and then he's
Barry Keoghan.
Yeah, and he's the guy from Eternals. He was just in Eternals.
What?
Yeah,
that idiot.
Yeah, he's Joker.
No, please no. He's no.
No.
An Irish dude.
What do you have against Irish people?
No, nothing. I don't know why I said that, but
Irish dude.
I just like, it's clear that like there's a lot of British people that are playing American people now, but this guy,
a lot of British people.
I feel like this guy just cannot be the Joker. Just looking at him, I don't know. But
yeah,
and I don't want to be one of those people that's like, you can never have the Joker again because Heath Ledger was just too good.
I thought Joaquin Phoenix was good,
But yeah, I liked Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, but
I thought it was going to be him. It should have been him. It should have been Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That's what I thought it would be.
But he's not that old either. He's like, wait, 19? Oh, 29. I guess he's not.
He looks like a kid.
He does look like a kid. Like this picture I'm looking at. He's like, he just looks goofy.
Yeah, well, kind of, final thing I want to touch on before we get into our final thoughts. Did you think that this film justified its length? I think it could have been a little bit shorter, but I think for the most part, like, I really didn't think about the runtime that much. Like I said, I think the issue was more for me about like how it was just kind of like a steady progression of events as opposed to like a building climax and something like that. Like it was kind of hard to differentiate like the 3 acts. But I actually thought the runtime of the film, I thought it was like it kept it entertaining.
I thought it was fine, but like just at like the end of the movie, like after like the whole Madison Square Garden part,
Gotham
just
Square
like
Garden.
from Gotham Square Garden, I just call it MSG because it's easier for me to remember. But like from after he like, the scene where he's got the flare and he's walking through the water, from there on, like I feel like that last part of the movie kind of just dragged. I was kind of just like, okay, nothing's obviously gonna happen here. Let's just wrap this up. Which is like one of my main complaints. I do think it went too long, but not because of the actual story. It was just like how they wrapped up the end of the movie made it feel a lot longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, I guess one thing that we didn't talk about, actually, now I know I said length was the last thing, but what did you guys think of that final quote unquote big battle? Because I also thought that was like kind of like that his final battle was like fighting like a bunch of like internet incels with like assault rifles.
I thought the battle itself was fine. It was just like the client, like
the context of it.
Like he went like fucking like let there be carnage mode, and then like he just like beat the shit out of that guy, and then it was just like over. And I was like, what a waste.
Yeah, like the fight
I
was
thought
cool.
It was the weakest fight, considering it was the last one. It was like the weakest one.
Yeah, that was also like a thing where it felt like they were like obligated, like, oh, we gotta have some epic, crazy like battle sequence at
but
the
then
end,
it didn't really like have like this a pinnacle climax. It just kind of ended. Like Commissioner Gordon was just like, stop, while he's just like going like ham on this dude, and then it's just like it was just kind of like over.
Yeah,
I think the ending of it seemed like the end of it is what kind of like molded my score the most, just because it seemed very like not well thought out compared to like what I've seen from other Batman movies.
Yeah, like
it wasn't a goosebumps ass ending.
There's a goosebumps scene in that ending fight, but it was not a goosebumps ending.
Yeah, like I feel like the end really should have been when he got captured, and maybe there should have been some like epic, some maybe chase scene or something like that, and then the end would have been like him talking to the Riddler in the thing instead of like, oh, he's talking to the Riddler, then he has to go save these people at this fucking Gotham Square Garden.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Because
but I really like
when they do catch the Riddler, it's so underwhelming, and he doesn't even like really give much context to why he gives up so quickly.
I think he's thinking like Batman is gonna like, because he thinks like Batman is on his side.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he thought Batman was gonna break him out, or like, because he even says in that video, he's like, I'm gonna be in jail with the Batman, like while this is happening. So, but obviously he thought wrong. Batman was not on his side. But I think one thing that I really liked about this film was it was really about Batman turning from just a vigilante to a hero, like when he that mask at the end, when he takes that mask off that dude and that dude's like, I am vengeance. It's like, oh shit, I've been doing things wrong, like that's why things haven't been getting fixed. I've been doing things the wrong way, and like I can't just be a symbol of fear. I also have to be a symbol of hope. And that's like, I really like that shot of him like lighting up the flare and like guiding people out, like like he's the hero that like he becomes the hero that we want, or like that Gotham needs him to be.
Yeah. Dark Knight,
the cliche line.
By the end
he becomes the Dark Knight.
Yeah, by the end of the movie. And also one thing, did you guys notice that all the character, like his name in the movie is Vengeance?
Yeah, they don't even really call him Batman, do they?
Yeah, the only time the word Batman is said is like when he's like looking at that board in his like building, or in his like the Riddler's like headquarters, and he's like, I think it's all coming to an end, and like Gordon's like, what? And Batman is like the Batman.
Well, and all the riddles are written to, it says to the Batman.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like Catwoman refers to him as, hey, vengeance. Hey,
Yeah.
vengeance.
Yeah.
So,
or like even Penguin, it's like vengeance, like hey, vengeance.
come
like,
here, vengeance.
Like literally when at the beginning of the movie when you're like, what are you? And he's like, I'm vengeance. Like he's actually like, I'm actually, that's actually,
he's actually introducing himself.
Yeah, like it's not just like him being badass. It's like, I'm vengeance.
Yeah.
Even though it is badass, it wasn't him trying to be badass. He just was vengeance.
Yeah. And I actually like the kind of that kind of loses the title of the movie. It's not just called Batman, it's called the Batman, like he's this like mythical, like almost like creature of the night, which I think is cool. But let's kind of start wrapping it up. Let's talk about our favorite scenes, least favorite scenes, kind of our final thoughts, pros and cons, rating of the film, and maybe if you can, like, where this ranks in your pantheon of Batman films. I don't know if I'll be able, like, if you guys can do that, go for it. I'm not totally sure. But yeah, let's get going. Favorite scene, or actually, let's John, maybe do you want to start us off?
Yeah. I think easily, okay, my two favorite scenes, I think, are the monologue at the beginning where it's showing, the petty crimes happening.
Yes.
and the music in the background, and like every shot of an alleyway that's super dark and you can't see, you're like, when is he going to come out? And I was wondering, even when he does come out and fights those like that group of dudes by the subway, even then I was like, is he going to come out, or is it going to be a different scene? I thought that was really cool and really well done. And that was pretty much it was an early oh shit moment for me, where I looked at Casey and I was like, I gave her that this is gonna be good look. That oh yeah.
Yeah, when he came out, I remember I was just like, holy shit, like I literally said like holy shit in the theater.
It really started off with a bang, and then like I really did like how creepy it was, and even making the Batman kind of creepy, not just the Riddler. But that was one of my favorite scenes, just the opening monologue. And then you can't not talk about the car chase. That was like literally the most badass shit in any Batman movie I've seen. Like the chase scene in Dark Knight was really, really good and iconic, but this one I would almost say tops it. And even though, I honestly, the only thing that I didn't like about it was the fact that we had seen it in the trailer. We had seen it a couple of times in the trailer. I wish they didn't show it.
I know. I do wish it would have been a secret.
If that would have been a secret, I would have like jaw to the fucking floor when it happened. And the fact, like the flipping of Penguin and his Maserati was insane. And I just thought in retrospect, it was kind of funny that like it didn't need to happen, because the Penguin, like, I guess they ended up finding out because of Penguin, like who the rat was, or they got closer to it, but he wasn't the rat with wings. But those were probably my two favorite scenes. I don't know if I have like a least favorite scene necessarily, because it was all really well done. I can't think of a least favorite scene off the top of my head. They were all really good. Like it was a really well done movie overall. But okay, so fave scenes, least favorite scenes, and then just final thoughts and rating. I feel like I was forgetting something.
No.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, give your final thoughts. Like,
okay. I was asking if I was forgetting something.
Oh no.
Okay. But yeah, I don't have any least favorite scenes that I can think of. I think not having a least favorite scene kind of tripped me up, but it is a little long, I think, in my opinion. I don't necessarily think the length subtracts much from my view of the film, because I still was very invested and like pretty much on the edge of my seat the entire movie throughout the 3-hour runtime. Don't stay for the end credit scene. I mean, obviously, if
There
you're
is
listening
none.
to this, you've already watched it because we're very spoiler heavy in our discussions. But uh, the end credit scene was not an end credit scene. It was a FU to Marvel fans, which I thought was kind of funny. But I really love the fact, like, my favorite thing about this movie, I think, is the fact that it really, truly doesn't try very hard. There are moments where there are some slight parallels, but it really, really does have its own identity um, compared to any other Batman movie and compared to any other superhero movie, especially recent ones. It's very dark, and I can't think of another superhero movie besides maybe Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker that like compares to the vibe of this. Um, Even though I did think maybe it dragged a little, with maybe one too many riddles. That was just, I thought, slightly overdone. Like, but even like I said, it's the Riddler's thing. So it's kind of a dumb complaint on my end.
It's valid. I just think it's kind of, I mean, my personal opinion is that like he's the Riddler, like duh.
Yeah. But I was like,
Duh.
okay, like 5 of them, like 5 times. But I do really want to see it again.
Same.
And I'd be interested. I don't think my rating would change too much if I saw it again, but I really want to see it again just because it's that good. And I think overall, the fact that it does really give a new identity to Batman is one of my favorite things about it. And I thought Robert Pattinson was really good, and I hope that we see at least 2 more movies from this version of the Batman. Has it been confirmed that this is going to be a trilogy, or that they're going to do a new trilogy, or is it just like us saying probably?
I think so. I mean, like, there's definitely going to be a sequel, you know. So
Yeah.
at that
Yeah,
point, I'd probably assume
obviously,
it's going to be a trilogy.
Obviously there's going to be a sequel, so hopefully there's a trilogy because I love this Batman. I do like the dark tones of it, and not really a complaint, but I think there were moments where it was a little melodramatic. I was like, okay, like there's no like happy moments, I think, in the entire thing. I think the only
No MCU humor.
no, which is fine, but the only thing, I think the only part that'll even make you laugh is the thumb drive line, where it's like literally a thumb drive. Like there's a thumb, or you have to use the guy's thumb that he cut off to use the USB stick or whatever. But it was really good overall. If I were to, oh, this is what I was forgetting: the rating among the other Batman films.
Yeah.
That's what was tripping me up because we didn't have it in our little list. If I were to rate it among the other ones, it's kind of hard for me to say for sure. I think this is what might change, seeing it 1 or 2 more times, my rating among the other films. I don't remember the 80s films enough to really rate it next to those. I do remember liking them a lot, but I haven't seen them since I was a kid. But to rate them next to the Nolan films, it's definitely better than Begins. Definitely. I think it's a way better origin story. Even though like he is already the Batman. Not really. Like, I mean, he's vengeance, but he's already got like his superhero shit. But I think it's a better origin movie than Batman Begins. I think it honestly might be above The Dark Knight Rises, potentially. It's in that echelon, I feel like, but The Dark Knight obviously is like beyond a 10 out of 10. Like, it's just so fucking good. And I don't think any superhero movie will probably ever top that, or at least not for a very fucking long time. It was just a lightning in a bottle moment. Heath Ledger was amazing. And yeah, I mean, without going into a review of The Dark Knight itself, that's definitely the top. But I think this would almost probably tie for second for me among like The Dark Knight Rises. And I don't know which one I would put ahead of each other. Maybe seeing this again, I would know for sure. But with that, I think out of 10, I would give The Batman a very, very strong 9 out of 10.
What about you, Andy? Favorite scenes, least favorite scenes,
So
final thoughts, rating. How does it rank?
yeah, my favorite scenes, the car chase, obviously, because I think like when the car's flipped over and the Batman's just walking towards the car and you just see a silhouette is such a like that's like a wallpaper worthy shot right there.
Yeah, Tana, when we saw that scene, she was like looked over at me and she was like, one of the like, is that one of the greatest shots in movies history? Like that walking upside down.
Yeah, and I think the other one, the one that gave me like goosebumps is at the end when um in the Gotham Square Garden when he blows up the ceiling and like comes in through the fire and the Batman theme is like blasting while he's like flying in is like that. I was like in the theater, I was like, holy shit. Like I audibly said out loud, I was like, holy shit. Like it was so cool because I absolutely love the theme. So seeing it used like that in the movie was like so cool to see. Even though that last part, like after that initial like drop in that last part of the movie kind of just like anticlimactic, but like at least it had that oh shit moment like stuffed in there for me. Um Least favorite scenes probably the Joker one. Like we already alluded to, but I didn't really actually have any like scenes that I didn't like because like even the ones when he's like trying to scope out Catwoman's like apartment is like super well done because it's like the light of his motorcycle turns on as he's driving away and all that shit and he's like in the rain just like I think even like the more like quote unquote like boring scenes are even like still done well
Just
enough.
so well made,
Yeah, they're so well made. It's kind of like Euphoria. It's just like this story makes no sense, but like it looks so damn good. Like it's
Yeah.
made so well. So I don't really have any like real least favorite scenes, but I mean in the end it was a movie that I really want to see again. I will probably buy this when it comes out in 4K.
Yeah.
It's definitely a physical collection edition. Even just seeing it after one watch, and I mean I'm probably will go and try to see it in the theater again. If not, when it comes out on DVD or streaming, I'll definitely be watching it day one again.
Just tell Jordan Robert Pattinson is shirtless in this movie.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, I mean, I thought like I like the way that DC movies are going now, where it's like not really like a MCU
Universe.
like ripoff. It's like these standalone movies for each villain. I mean, you guys know, and everybody else that listens probably knows I'm not a huge MCU fan in the first place. I feel like the standalone movies produce higher like cinematic quality than like having these. It's cool like having connected universes like Marvel does, but I think personally I like standalone movies where you can get like the whole gist of it without having to watch like 6 or 7 other movies to like really get the full experience.
Or like 30 other movies.
Yeah. But like I really like it. I just think that like the part everything after when he like does his like Venom like resurgence fucking like thing at the end in that last fight, like everything past that could have been cut and I wouldn't have any complaints, but that last part just like drags on. Like I didn't need to watch like him and Catwoman bike ride together for like 5 minutes. Like I was like, Jesus, dude, like I don't care. But I think it does produce enough. Like I understand why it was in there, but I like them like saying bye to each other before going their separate ways needed to be in there, but they didn't have to do like a chase scene basically. But I mean that's a small complaint, but it just that like last part of the movie just like see, because I'm thinking like when I was watching I was thinking of like how in the Dark Knight it's like all the way up until like when the credits start rolling it's like the and like Gordon's like telling like the story of like Batman to his son or whatever as Batman's like driving away. I feel like the ending could have just been done better to wrap it up. It just seemed like, oh, Batman's like rescuing people from a flood. Like he's a humanitarian. He's like the Red Cross of fucking Gotham now. But I mean, with all that being said, I would probably rank this like right under The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's my number one Batman movie, and then it'd be like this, and then Dark Knight Rises, and then Batman Begins, and then I haven't honestly seen any of the ones older than Batman Begins. So I can't really rate those, but like putting that like as the second best out of like the past four like main Batman movies, especially when three of them are from Christopher Nolan. I think that sings high praise for this movie. And in the end, I would give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. I am not giving it a 10 out of 10 solely because like The Dark Knight is a 10 out of 10, and I don't think I would put it on the exact same level ratings wise. So yeah, I give it a 9.5. I think it was one of the first times that I've like been to a theater recently where I was like left and I was like, damn, that was a fucking good movie. Like,
Yeah.
I think the last time that happened was probably Tenet, but even after Tenet, I was like so confused the first time watching it. I was kind of like, I don't really know. After watching it a second time when I understood Tenet, I liked it a lot more, but I feel like I haven't like walked out of the theater being like, holy shit, like I'm gonna go back like immediately and watch it again, and like probably a long time. So I think this movie definitely deserves a score that I have bestowed upon it.
Yeah, so I guess this is where I'll jump in. Favorite scene, definitely the fucking opening monologue. Dude, that was masterfully fucking done. Like that's gonna be up there as like one of my favorite like Batman moments in like any movie. That shit was so good. So good. Like literally like that I said like holy shit. Like, like that was just amazing. That was
gonna be good.
Yeah, like it was masterfully fucking just the whole monologue. God, dude, like it's I am the shadows, like fucking like oh god, it was so good. That's definitely my favorite scene, and up there with also like the introduction of the Batmobile, the two intro scenes, like the two different things. They're so great. Definitely my favorite scenes, and I will like God. I wish that scene, that opening monologue scene, was like on YouTube, just so I could like pull it up and just watch it on like repeat. Least favorite scene, definitely that Joker scene. It just felt very forced and very unnecessary. Also, like, I mean, Barry Keoghan is a fine actor. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. He does. We'll see. I mean, a lot of people there's a very negative backlash when Heath Ledger was cast as Joker. So you never know. I hope that they do give spotlight to like another villain for like the sequel. My pick is on like Mr. Freeze. I think that'd be super cool. Especially with like this whole film's like color aesthetic being red. It'd be cool if like the sequel's just like blue. Um, in terms of like final thoughts though, like there's so many things this movie knocks out of the park. The Gotham portrayal, like Batman as like a more inexperienced Batman where he doesn't give a shit about Bruce Wayne. He's just all in on this Batman shit. The action scenes, the cinematography, it's all fantastic. I think like this movie is just masterfully made. In terms of cons though, I think the length isn't an issue, but I think the way this film is paced is where it's just like, like I said, it feels like just a series of events occurring as opposed to like this 3-act structure, which is fine. Like there's a lot of movies I love that don't have that, but that just kind of happens with like detective movies. I feel like where if you watch something like Zodiac or like a lot of like detective films where it's just like a progression of events because they're just following up on clues. So that's like kind of a con for me right there. And I think specifically that con translates into like the third act of the film, where I think it does lose steam in terms of like, I thought the final battle was kind of lame with like how he's fighting just these internet incels with assault rifles that are about to do like this mass shooting. But and then some of the dynamic stuff, like I thought the Catwoman dynamic was a little forced and the Riddler scene was like completely unnecessary. So it's like those things, but I think this is a great start to like a potential new trilogy. I think it's a better start than Batman Begins. In terms of like how I would rank these films, I'd rank it above Batman Begins, kind of in the same boat as John. I don't know where this falls in around The Dark Knight Rises, somewhere in there, either it's third behind Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight, or it's like probably tied, maybe better. It's kind of like in that gray area. I'm not really sure. I'll just say it's like tied. And then obviously Dark Knight is fucking number one because it's the fucking Dark Knight. It's the fucking Dark Knight. Damn
exactly.
This is fucking cinema.
Yeah, it's fucking cinema. But no, I think this is a really great foundation and a great start. And all the like issues aside, the third act kind of falling flat for me. Just some of the pacing issues, just some of the character dynamics not being the greatest. Those kind of taking all things into consideration. If I had was rating this not off of our scale, this would probably be honestly, probably I'd say 8.8 or 8.9. Just falling short of that amazing status, that a 9 range for me, I would say it would, entail. So I'm gonna give this film I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I think it has, like I said, I think, I feel like the potential for this trilogy is through the roof. I think we will probably get there's a really good chance we could see a second and third film that are 9.9, 9.5, maybe even 10, some crazy amazing shit. But right now I'm gonna give it an 8.5 with all those issues laid out. But no, I really, really enjoyed this film, all things considered. It's such a breath of fresh air, in the superhero landscape, seeing something so original and unique with such a unique vision. And even though I gave it an 8.5, I did really love watching this film. I just wish my experience in the theater was a little better. But yeah, so 8.5, 9, 9.5, that brings the ControllerCast score to a 9 out of 10 for the Batman, which I will say this, but feels like a pretty fitting score.
Is it? Yeah. We always say that.
I mean, it's pretty on par with Rotten Tomatoes, so.
Yeah.
And we never plan that out. It literally just happens.
Yeah. Sometimes we review movies and we don't even know what the Rotten Tomatoes is, and we look it up and we're like, oh yeah, that's pretty similar to what our score was.
and we keep our scores secret until we get on air. So
yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but yeah, we never know what any of our scores, each other's scores are until we say it at the very end.
Yeah.
It's always kind of like a
secret.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm always like, what is he gonna rate it? What is he gonna rate it?
Me too. I'm always excited to hear your guys' ratings.
Yeah, but there you go, 9 out of 10 for the Batman. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Robert Pattinson is fucking amazing. He's also one of the funniest actors out there. He's a complete shitlord if you keep up with any of the stuff he does in person, in real life. Did you guys see that photo I sent you guys? I was hanging out with PK, just playing Kanye West music. He's just a fucking shitlord.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, 9 out of 10. Thank you everyone for listening. That is episode 43, the 1 year special of the Batman. The Batman. 1 year later, we reviewed another movie that's set almost entirely at night, and the city is raining, and there's a bunch of neon lights, just like Blade Runner, and it's a detective story.
Wow.
Wow, crazy shit. But thank you.
Full circle.
Yeah, full circle. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you guys next week. That is Ursula signing off. Thanks.
Thanks for listening for a year, guys.
Thank you, everyone.